All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to NACLQ. We have Polestars versus AM All Stars. And I am Anti. I'm joined today by the wonderful Cilantro. And because of some interesting things going on, we are going to be doing some recording sort of deal. But we've already got the draft underway, and man, is it moving fast.
Yep, this is very interesting right off the gate. Polestar is going to be coming out with that blue side ever so strong as we saw in the previous worlds. We are on a new patch where they have tried to balance out the sides, but I still think blue side has that little bit of an advantage over the red side as you do get that first pick and pick up whatever you want. And we got Varus picked up, who's extremely still strong. He can benefit off of the high AP scaling items that are in the game and quote unquote new now. So we're going to see if he decides to go for that or opt for the ever so strong lethality items that are very strong. And
Yeah,
AM
I
All
mean, we've
Stars.
been we've been seeing a ton of lethality Varus over the course of, LCK and LEC. Meanwhile, Misfortune on the other side, we're just going to be getting these AD carries that are going to continue to output damage and stay as safe as possible. Jarvan's still going to be super strong, especially with Misfortune on the table here. And I will say, so it does seem like AM All-Stars are the underdogs here. You got a lot of challenger players on the side of Pulse. But, you know, individual play does not matter as much as team play. So we really have to see just how things work together.
I like the combination of MF Jarvan ultimates. It's very, very strong, as we may know. And if he does build into that MF lethality, and you can get a nice 3-4 man Cataclysm where you bait out the flash of Varus so he can't really escape easily, you're going to see some meat grinders come out as Orianna still a very staple to the game right now. And she benefits highly off of those AP items such as Storm Surge. So those shockwaves are going to be devastating. And you can combine that with a Varus Q going through your whole team. You can better believe that you are not going to live for much longer.
Yeah, I mean, the Orianna here is a great pick, a solid takeaway from the Jarvan. Shinzao going to be put on the table here. I actually really like this pick. It gives you a point-and-click go button. Make sure that you have a lot of ability to set up the Orianna ball. You got that ball delivery system. The Azir going to be picked up for AM All-Stars, or at least looked at here, which honestly makes a ton of sense. I mean, with the new change where Azir now has the ability to proc on hits on soldiers, you take that fleet footwork, you're going to be able to live you a lot more in lane, you get that Lich Bane, and you just pump out so much damage here. But in the meantime, we're going to be looking at a few support bans here. Rel taken off the table by AM All-Stars, going to just deny more of that wombo comp. You've already got Varus, Orianna, Shinzao. Like, that is terrifying to say the least. You want to remove as much follow-up as possible. We might see an Alistar removal from AM All-Stars as well. Rakan, one of the best supports in the game right now. I think that we just really want to hit more of these wombo supports here.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to go with the MF. I've seen some Milio being played recently. Lots of Renata has been played recently. Nautilus, obvious, is a good staple. I think Leona is starting to get a little bit more action as well, but I don't really think that's something you want to go if you're the side of AM Star just yet. So it could be an Alistar ban coming out here. Although Pulse might not want to ban the Alistar and maybe want to pick it up themselves and try and deny this all-in coming out from Jarvan and Azir if they look to dive together. So I think the Alistar could be a good pickup here, but that begs me to question, like, really, what supports do you think is going to go for All-Star?
I mean, I was thinking, something that's very much indexed into an all-in, like someone like Leona, Alistar, right? That we had mentioned earlier. You might even see something crazy like the Ashe support come out or something like Bard. But right here, that is a very targeted ban, right? I mean, you don't just ban Riven for no reason. That is obviously saying, hey, we did our research. We do not want to deal with Antcliffe's Riven. Instead, it's going to be the Soraka. So instead of going more for that all-in, they say, you know what? We're lacking in survivability on our front line. We're going to just keep ourselves alive, keep ourselves available, just make sure that there's no way that our team dies before we're able to continue to pump out DPS. I mean, this team could very much have a Wombo available, but, you know, it's not to say that they don't do a lot of point and click. And oh baby, we've got the Udyr. We might be getting some Udyr Cassante stuff going on in that top lane. Udyr, disgusting on this patch, just lives for absolutely forever. One of the most annoying champions to deal with on this patch. So much of the tank items benefit him. And one last pick here for our support. We do have the Ashe pickup. All right, I was mentioning it, but for the side of AM All-Stars, but instead is going to be going over to Pulse here. We've got poke on poke on poke in this bot lane.
And wow, Jax is going to be picked up here instead. Well, a little bit of a hover. So it's looking like, you know, NACLQ, see what he decides to respond with here. You know, he's got that Jax online. You know, he can look for a little bit of maybe even the Aatrox. Gnar is also a viable option. Has a little bit
all
of...
right.
Yeah.
It is going to be the Gnar going to go all in on the Wombo, and while Soraka is more of that, you know, sustain sort of support, you know, that Equinox, her E, is actually so incredibly strong when it comes to Wombos, right? Because, you know, you start up with an Azir ulti or a Jarvan ulti into a Gnar ulti, and you know, all of that looks really nice and all until your opponents flash out of it. And that's exactly what the Soraka's Silence Field could do for you. So, you know, it's honestly a team that works together really, really well here. Meanwhile, on the side of Pulse, you got a ton of champions that are just so strong on this patch that I wonder, you know, if the synergistic team composition will be able to take over the individually incredibly strong components that also do work well together.
Yeah, and we have two bot lanes that honestly want to play a little bit slow and play for a little bit of the scaling. So probably going to see a little bit more jungle paths towards the top side. Maybe trying to help Gnar get a little bit of an advantage against the Udyr, shut him down early so that he can, you know, have a little bit less time to getting that tank scaling, like you mentioned. Speaking of the Gnar, I think that the Gnar is a very great pick here, because if you go in with the Cataclysm and people flash out of it, Gnar with a nice off-angle flank can just throw them back into the Cataclysm wall. They flash away from Azir wall. Gnar just throws them into the Shurima Shuffle. You have lots of combos here with the Gnar, so I think it's a very underestimated pick, and it can work out very well if All-Stars plays their macro and ult economies correctly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a large part of this really relies on NACLQ, right? Can NACLQ get the right flank off? Can he get that rage built up exactly at the right moment, right? I mean, that rage management is one of the most important things about Gnar, and it's one of the most difficult things to do in a competitive setting, especially against champions like Varus and Ashe, who can poke you down and force that rage out. Right? It's going to be so difficult for the side of AM All-Stars to really get that Wombo going, but if executed, could work beautifully. Meanwhile, on the side of Pulse, you know, you have the Xin Zhao, the Orianna for that two-man, you know, ball delivery system combo. The Udyr, who's going to be able to constantly split push and have not a single champion actually threaten him in a side lane. Like, Gnar will be able to stay even and then crush the team fights, but I don't think Gnar can truly knock Udyr out of a side lane without a massive lead here. Meanwhile, Varus and Ashe going to be able to continue the trend of safe 80 carries / engage champions that don't need to commit to anything. It's honestly a terrifying team to have to deal with on the side of Pulse.
Yeah, and speaking of the Ashe, one arrow can shut down the entirety of All-Stars win con in a team fight. She lands it on the Soraka. That's no silence. That's no heal for at least 4 or 5 seconds. And that could be devastating. Like you mentioned with the ball delivery of Qiyana Xin Zhao, they get in there and you're blown up and dead. No heals, no silence, no nothing. So I feel like it's going to come down to a lot of what a B can do with these Ashe arrows. Gonna have them online typically every 30 to 40 seconds. You can hit the Gnar with it, deny the dive with Azir and Jarvan. You can hit the MF, deny the ult combo, hit Soraka. I'm kind of looking a little bit more towards Soraka because that is your sustain. That is your win con. So you shut down her, util in her kit, and you can dive in yourself and get a win con. Back to the Udyr, like you mentioned. Yes, he could split push, but the big thing about the split push is he needs to pull somebody. And right now, it's looking like Pulse have the advantage in the 4v4 if the Gnar isn't there or if the Azir isn't there. So Pulse is looking to pull somebody away, play their split lanes, and then look for that advantage in the 4v4.
Yeah, and if you continue with the state of the game, I mean, the later the game gets, the more terrifying AM All-Stars Wombo gets, because, you know, you really only need one team fight to end the entire thing. But, you know, with the Ash Arrow, it's going to be really hard to get those Misfortune ultis off, but there's so many good targets for that Ash Arrow. You know, like you said, there's the Soraka, but, you know, denying a Gnar engage, denying an Azir follow-up, denying the Jarvan Cataclysm, all of those pieces, if one of those is missing, could be disastrous. So, you know, you really have to be worried on the side of AM All-Stars as to, you know, can we get everything up and running? I mean, this is an Exodia composition, but can you get all the pieces into your hand?
Yeah, we're going to see how that each of these teams can play out. The kiting from the side of All-Stars is going to be a little bit detrimental because you got Ash Arrow slowing you down, so you're not going to be able to run away from said Udyr if he decides to team fight, from Xin Zhao if he does decide to team, or well, he will be team fighting, obviously. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team plays out. But we're going to go to a little bit of a break while we're waiting for these teams. I think we had some DCs, some technical issues, so we're going to throw a little bit of a break while we wait for that. So we'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are back and out on the Rift. We see a little bit of an early invade here, probably just going for a little bit of vision and contest out. And we do see that their Rifts have, you know, we've got those new Rifts online, so a little bit of an different invade paths we have now.
Yeah, I mean, with the change on the map, 5-pointing itself is very different, but this is far from a replacement for a 5-point. Instead, you just get some mad shenanigans to start with. And I mean, either way, you know, you got that early sweeper gonna be giving that one over to the mid laner there. I mean, it's a little bit of extra gold experience. You are going to feel pretty good about that one, but all of a sudden, okay, Krya and co are walking in on this blue buff. They're already going to be fighting here.
Yep, the scatter arrow is going to land. Soraka's going to be slowed up. He's going to get poked down. Not going to be able to find out the pick, but they was forced to burn that. Actually, not forced to burn that heal. It was... I just want to turn the channel.
It was B, actually, that ended up healing that. So, I mean, right here, you see even more trading back and forth. Oh, my lord.
Yep, and aggression out of the Udyr in the top lane, like you mentioned, someone that's extremely strong in this patch, has opted for the Doran's ring instead of a shield, so we could be seeing some kind of tank AP hybrid as Demon trying to contest this invade out of the Xin Zhao, but he's not going to be able to find that. I would respond to try and cross map, go to his blue side, try and take his Gromp or something of the latter, but we see the World Atlas is coming out of both the supports, the brand new support item. What do you think each of these supports are going to be building into?
I mean, honestly, the World Atlas itself, I think, is a phenomenal item. I love the way how it's designed here. You know, just... Oh, wait, hold on. It's starting to get a little bit of trades off in the top lane, but, I mean, either way, it's something that I just love to see from, you know, from Riot get a lot more, you know, variety in the way how, you know, more people play. Yeah, I mean, we might see a little bit of cooking because this is 14.1. We might see double support item where the AD carries pick it up and pump a little bit more gold into their supports here. But, you know, the fact that you can get gold both by hitting the enemy and by... Oh, hold on.
Yo, Udyr burns the ghost, maybe trying to find that pick off of the empowered R, but not going to be able to find it just yet. And we see that the MF Raka has actually been forced under the tower from the aggressive poke out of Varus Ash here, but, you know, the junglers only in the top side, both meeting at that Scuttle Crab. Like we mentioned, they were going to be pathing a bit more towards the top side instead of the bot lane. So if you're Utio and Alexander, you're kind of left to your own accords at this point.
Yeah, but you can see it right here that you know, is honestly just the jungler is going to come up, help the wave get shoved all the way into tower, going to avoid a freeze, you know, just allow NACLQ to get that back off. I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult to see whether or not the side of, you know, Polestar is going to, you know, bring back the early aggression that we saw, right? You know, right as the game started, but I mean, instead, it's just going to be just how we expected this bot lane to go. This just poke on poke on poke from this bot lane. You know, Enthralled and a B just going to continue just pumping damage out forward. Meanwhile, Eret and Ultia are just going to try to stay alive. And oh, speaking
No
of
Mega
which,
Gnar form just yet. It will be spawning in a minute, so we're going to see if NACLQ decides to go for an all-in. The storm has already been used, so he's got the Mega Gnar form. Not going to opt to go in just yet. And both top lanes going to be just chilling out for their farm. But 20 seconds till this dragon's up, and Daemon is already invaded into this bot red side. And there's a mid prio out of Ensands on this Azir, so they could be looking to push in to take this first Infernal Dragon. I think Daemon might have been caught out by the Xin Zhao here, as Reppy wants to potentially help out his jungler by that space, but no bot lane prio right at the moment really means that you don't have the position to go for this dragon, but that could mean Daemon is looking for a gank here. Silence is going to come down, but not able to help get out. Ashe will be there to help kite them away anyway, so nothing is going to be found on the map just yet.
yeah, I mean, meanwhile, in this top lane, this is exactly what we expected from the Udyr. You know, completely infallible in that top lane, just so little that the enemy team can do to him early on. Just going to be proxying, you know, doing his best Singe cosplay there. But speaking of which,
Xin Zhao does go in.
Lines,
Yep, the heal comes out from the Soraka helping out, but that's a lot of damage off of the Q stacks from that Varus there. But it's looking like positioning has been regained in this bot side prio for the side of Polestars. They could look for a first early dragon as Ensands is recalling, but it's looking like they, yep, Kira is going to go ahead and start that, so there should be first dragon of the game going over the side of Polestars.
yeah, I mean, Daemon has been in every single lane, like, not so much in terms of mid lane, but has been doing so much early on, and it's honestly biting him in the butt a little bit. Krya, as you can see, has the CS lead, has a lot more control, and has the dragon control here, but with the start on dragon, that could be a signal to go straight for those grubs, and grubs right now are so unbelievably strong, but you know, Daemon has to be a little bit careful here. I mean, there's prio in the mid lane. You can see Krya just walking straight on over. They're gonna be able to get vision here.
And here comes Cozy looking to contest these grubs, and that forces Daemon out, and Krya can just walk up and take them for free. The Void grubs are very strong, especially if you can get all 6 stacks of them, because then you're going to see turrets start falling. But maybe they're looking for an invade onto Daemon instead, but he's going to be able to get out, forced to give up his Krugs. But they're not giving up on the kill potentially. That is AB roamed up as the support as well. 4 people inside of Daemon's jungle. They see the recall coming out, and now it's looking like their time to go take that objective.
Yeah, and honestly, this is a phenomenal punish on the Soraka pick here. I mean, while the side of AM All-Stars is going to be able to survive in that lane for absolutely forever, there is negative kill pressure on this Varus here. I mean, Enthrall is just going to continue to farm up in this bot lane. Honestly, still getting some trades off in terms of damage here. Meanwhile, oh,
maybe he can find the all-in. The damage is ticking away. One more. He can go for a tower dive here. You are Udyr. You're very tanky. He's going to pop the ghost. He's going to be looking for it. The flash is going to come down, and the tower shots are going to trade. And he actually does get the pick. NACLQ in the top side with the first blood of the game.
yeah, and this is disastrous for the side of Polestar. We are talking about how it was just going to be near impossible for the side of, you know, NACLQ to actually continue to lane into the Udyr later on unless you have a lead, and that lead is so unbelievably important. I mean, yes, Cozy is going to be able to pick up the Swifty boots. Yes, Cozy is still going to be able to get more and more tanky, but more gold onto a Gnar, who is going to be maybe your only champion that will be able to deal with an Udyr in a side lane later on, is very, very good to see.
Scrying Orber's hit as potentially AB was looking for some type of mid lane roam, and honestly Cozy, if maybe he wants to try again, the stun's gonna land up this time, but the Heartbound Axe is gonna give him a little bit of an item advantage of Antcliff. He's gonna be able to trade that back out, and it's looking very grim here. Maybe trying to find something. Insane's, it's got the ultimate online. The Shockwave's actually gonna come down. It's feeling like Reppy, maybe he feels he has the damage, but he does not really have the mana to pick up that pick just yet, as a nice stun is going to end up landing out of Antcliff, but it's not going to be nearly enough. He's got to play this a little bit safe. Yes, he has a bit of an item advantage, but he does not have a health advantage, and do not underestimate Udyr. And we've seen Cozy, he's not afraid to go under that tower.
Yeah, I mean, Cozy right here, I think might be looking to set up for a dive, which honestly, without how much deep vision they have in the top lane, is exactly what's allowing Cozy to go for this stuff.
They don't have vision. The Cataclysm is going to come down with the Bullet Rain, and Ultio picks up his first of the game. Not committing ultimate, just only committing the heal is Alexander to keep that jungler alive. Was forced to use the flash there, though, but an insane bush camp to get a little bit more bot lane prio, and Thrall just cancels the back. A little bit cheeky, but insane play there.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what we were talking about. You know, that Equinox doing so much work. They know those bushes aren't warded, but it's fine, and Thrall just knows, right? But, I mean, meanwhile, more trades off in the top lane. I mean, one thing that's really interesting here, we're going to be seeing the on-hit for the Varus. I mean, a lot of the times, you know, you'll see a lot more lethality. Varus, you know, stays a lot more safe, stays, you know, effective from long range. But in this time around, you say, hey, you know what? We need the DPS. We need someone to take down, you know, these tanky members of the enemy team. But in this mid lane,
AB comes in with the scatter arrow, not gonna find anything really. But back to, like you mentioned, with the on hit, I actually really like it a bit over the lethality here. Yes, you could do a ton of damage, but with lethality, but that's like kind of almost a one for done when you're on this Varus, whereas most of the members on the side, except for really kind of Jarvan and Gnar, but if Gnar's not in mega form, he's not really that tanky. No one's that tanky on the side of All-Stars. So you can go on hit and just spam Qs and use your blight arrows and just put in tons of damage after using your chains of corruption and just be mega impactful with the on-hit build. So I think it's very, very good here, as they may have caught out this Xin Zhao. The Emperor's Defiance gonna find that one, and they use the arrow to try for a little bit more kite, but it's looking like the Xin Zhao should end up falling here anyway. But the chains come down on to the Jarvan. He's forced to flash over the wall. The TP's coming out of Antcliff. Does he have the Mega Gnar form? Will it be an advantage as Jarvan barely gonna get out? Will the support be able to pick up the pill? Yes, he will. AB slays Daemon. The Udyr pops his ghost, maybe trying to find something. No Mega Gnar form just yet, but an ult is going to come down. He trades one for one after slamming one to the wall. Another stun is going to come out, and is Cozy doing absolute work. The advantage of the top side, but Ensign is going to trade out one there as well, picking up two for him on this fight. Maybe he's trying to find this Orianna, but he's going to fight for his life right now against a very tanky Udyr, who's going to be able to pick up another pick in this fight. But no, he goes over the wall with the Azir movement and gets out barely.
Yeah, and just like that, you can see Ensane's putting out tons and tons of damage, taking out the double marksman who had ripped through his entire team there. And right at the end, when it looked like all hope was lost, made like Solitaire and shuffled away as the lone surviving member from the side of AM All-Stars. I mean, right here, you know, that all turns into a dragon for AM All-Stars, despite what looked like, you know, an initial, you know, just quick pick onto Krya, turned into an absolute bloodbath into the eventual dragon.
And something I really want to point out there was that, Cozy may be finding him, but no. Cozy did not use his TP into that fight. He walked from base as Antcliff was forced to use his TP, so that means while Antcliff was dead, Cozy could just TP back to the top side and regain lane prio, and shove back this Gnar under the tower, which is absolutely crucial because he is down a level and is down a little bit on items as well. As we see a potential bot gank, the arrow's going to come down, and the Chains of Corruption actually going to miss. No chance to use the Cataclysm, and it's actually going to be able to get up Ultia. Or AB does end up falling there. Another arrow, trying to find that out, but Ensigns is going to get that one. In the meantime, Antcliff wins out the 1v1 in the top side, but the roam from the Orianna's Reppy is going to be able to help find that 1-for-1 trade. Insane plays to the bot lane dive here.
Yeah, I mean, it looked so clean from the side of AIM All-Stars. Reppy going to be able to just pick up that one trade on that. Ancliffe nearly going down, but a beautifully timed ultimate from the side of Alexander going to be able to keep that one alive. And oh my lord, this Ashe might not be, the kind of 80 carry on hit, chases you down forever kind of demon, but Ashe, no matter what, always going to be able to slow you down, always going to be able to be a nuisance regardless. I mean, I was wondering if we were going to be seeing some AP Ashe. We do manage to see a little bit of that Bloodletters, I believe, on the side of the Ashe, which does mean that we are going to be getting a decent bit of damage coming out. I mean, the support items are really interesting. That item does a lot in terms of the on hit and in terms of every time you cast an ability, so you gotta be really careful. You can't just let this Ashe alone.
Yeah, and she's got the Hail of Blades online, so she keeps stacking those autos. It's going to do a lot of damage. She's got that Scimitar Sword as well for a little bit of the life cut, so Jarvan, if he does go opt for the little bit of lifesteal build, not going to be able to do too much off that. But we got full lethality on the MF, and it's like you said, on hit on the VAR. So this bot lane out of Pulsars, they're going to do a lot of unexpected damage. And I think Daemon is starting to realize that with Ashe running him down.
Yeah, I mean, we've already got the Executioners calling on a B as well. So that Soraka healing is going to be cut a decent bit. I mean, it's the classic, right? Every single time that it's available, you're always going to be seeing some kind of healing reduction picked up by the enemy team, and being able to stick that onto the support, very, very good feeling. I mean, Rift Herald being dropped mid, a decent amount of damage. I always miss seeing people ride Shelly. I mean, it's the most fun thing I think they added to the game this season.
I have to agree with you. I think it's awesome. I like autoing the turrets as well and seeing the little void grubblings come out. It's like someone's helping you get the turret and knock that one down. But a minute and a half till we have the next objective online, so we're just going to see both teams kind of ban out farm and see what kind of builds we can get, as maybe it's Cozy looking for some sort of 1v1. He lost the last one to Ancliffe. Maybe he's looking to potentially win this one out with the Iceborne Gauntlet, but I think the Trinity Force is going to do a little bit more, as Daemon just walks up and snipes that big chicken, denying even more gold, trying to get back at Kyria for that early invade. But AB is in the area, so you got to be a little bit careful if you're Daemon. It's going to shield up and walk away, but we've got a Luden's Companion coming out of the Orianna.
Oh, all right. I mean, Luden's Companion does a lot of damage early on and also gives you a lot of mana, which is the important part here, right? So that is likely going to be building into not a Storm Surge, but a... shoot, what was it called? Yeah, but, I mean, either way, it's likely going to be building into more pen afterwards. I mean, this is just going to be pen on pen on pen, and an eventual Storm Surge, eventual, Death Cap, and oh my lord, there's so much damage coming off into this top lane. And for a lane where we initially saw Cozy literally diving Antcliff, nearly getting that kill, to a lane where Antcliff is about to kill Cozy under tower if Cozy had stayed, this is disastrous for the side of Polestar.
All right, we see positioning for this dragon. They might have caught out the MF. Xinjia's going to go in and force out that flash. And the Ashe Arrow is actually going to end up going wide. One more knockup, maybe able to find the kill. The Soraka ult's going to come down, keep him alive just a little bit longer, but no extra peel there to help out. And right now you have the positioning and numbers to take this second dragon for free if you're Pulsars. What an insane jungle invade. They wrapped all the way around to find that pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest things about the bot lane changes for the map. You got to be so careful of so many angles. It's honestly really difficult to play around if you don't have all the adequate vision. But right there, you have the Xin Zhao coming in with the Titanic Hydra auto resets, going to be able to knock you up so much faster than you had anticipated. And it's going to be so rough for the side of Ultio to try to live past that engage. I mean, you got Ashe Arrow, you got Varus ulti, you got Xin Zhao knockups. It's just so difficult to run away.
maybe is looking like Daemon wanted to find an invade in the mid lane, but not really finding the angle for that as NACLQ, he's TPing in, but it's going to get stunned out. The Mega Gnar form's not going to find any value at the TP on this bot side, and that actually ticks NACLQ off a little bit, looking to trade out back, and they might go for a tower dive here instead. Bot lane looking to take up that tier 2 and just do a little bit of an invade, but not going to find anything just yet. And it's looking like this top dive failed out a little bit as the Shurima Shuffle is going to find the Shockwave. Is going to actually met the Ash Arrow miss, and the Flash against the Scatter Arrow. They're not going to find Insanes on this year. Insane gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, the man has died a single time after, you know, a huge roam off into that bot lane. I mean, Insanes has been playing so well. Reppy obviously has been playing incredibly well himself, but this Azir is something that you have to be so worried about. There's so much burst damage on the side of AM All-Stars, and the fact that the Azir, the singular bit of sustained damage, is the one that you're going to be able to just leave there is very nice. You know, it's a peace of mind knowing, hey, I don't care that the Udyr is getting tanky. I don't care about this because my mid laner will be able to tear straight through that.
Yeah, and probably a little bit of a miscommunication. There's a Shockwave. It looked like allowed this Insanes to dodge the Ash Arrow that was coming down. Maybe they wanted to go for a Shockwave Ash Arrow combo, just ended up a little bit with that miscommunication as we see a potential fight over the Baron here. Not going to start just yet. The Cosmic Drive online for Insanes. This Ash Arrow going to go wide again. The Orianna even popped the shield so the Ash Arrow could hit. Another Shockwave is going to come down. Can they find the pick on it? And this time it's the chains go wide. He's dodging all of the arrows here today on this Azir. The movement is going in crazy.
Yeah, I mean, man living up to the name here, but speaking of which, there's no way that you can live through this top
The shuffle goes wide.
The
shuffle goes wide, and it's only the Jarvan there for Peel, and it's looking like Insanes. You're on the wrong side of your Azir wall there. They get him this time and feed a pick over to Enthralled on the Varus AD carry.
Yeah, I mean, just more and more damage for that on-hit Varus. Meanwhile, in this mid lane, oh my god. I mean, Cozy, not really going to have any kill pressure per se, but the fact that you're able to just clear out the wave like that into 280 carries is something that you have to be a little bit worried about for the side of AM All-Stars. Meanwhile, in this bot lane, we're going to be seeing the side laning from the team that we thought was going to just be grouping up for an Exodia composition.
And bot tier 2 has fallen. That's going to be crucial for these dragon fight objectives that are going to be coming up. I expect NACLQ to be side laning like crazy. It's looking like Cozy is doing a little bit more team fighting since he has lost out a little bit to the Gnar. I don't feel like he thinks he can pressure the Gnar in the side lane, although he's arguably the only person that out of Polestars really can respond to that. But we have third dragon coming up here in about a minute, so it's gonna be interesting to see if maybe we see a bit of a Baron trade-off here over the dragon. I feel like stacking dragons is a little bit more benefactor than, you know, trading off for a Baron at this point in the game though.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the Ocean Soul as the dragon that could appear here. I mean, if you stack an Ocean Drake on top of Soraka, that is so terrifying. The fact that you already have a single Chemtech drag to buff out that Soraka's healing is already a huge boon for AM All-Stars. But, you know, Polestars right now just looking to stack those Oceans, looking to try to match the side of AM All-Stars in terms of healing while not mitigating their only poke, and oh my lord.
The engage is stopped out, but a nice knockup's gonna come down, and Gnar is in the fight, but the Mega ult is gonna go wide. He flashes forward, trying to trade out 1-for-1, so now it is a 5v3 in favor of AM All-Stars. The Flash is not really gonna find anything out of this Azir, and this could turn back in the favor as Udyr is trying to get one, but no! NACLQ lives for so dang long, and they end up winning out that fight, only trading out their jungler. They could go for the dragon. Azir's gonna start it, but right now they want to get this mid-tier 1 and maybe move into it.
Yeah, and NACLQ just flashes forward, make sure that Enthralled doesn't get a chance to play the game, but even more crucially, Eric Xander with the flash heal on the Soraka, the savior of that fight. The fact that NACLQ doesn't die because of that flash heal is exactly what makes sure that AM All-Stars are able to take that one straight to the brink. huge ups to this Soraka. Oh my god. I mean, it's just the Moonstone healing just gonna continue to keep everyone alive. And I just cannot believe that we saw that flash heal matter just that much.
Yeah, and something I want to point out, though, in the midst of all that chaos, in the midst of flashes flying left, right, and center, Ultio held strong and held that flash. And now we have Baron posturing and positioning coming up. Enthralled and AB don't have the flash online, and Daemon has the Cataclysm. This is the moment for the ult combo. They can bullet rain Cataclysm. Ultio has the flash so he can get away from Kyria on this Xin Zhao. So this is a crucial fight win. I think whoever wins this is going to be in position to start leaning towards endgame.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ensign's right now just looking around the Baron, looking to clear out this vision here. I mean, you do have the prio in the mid lane. You have teleports on both of the top laners, but one of the things to note about Gnar, right? You know, Gnar cannot cancel a teleport without being in mega form.
Ashero lands, and the shockwave's gonna come out, force the flash out of Damio. Another TP is stunned out from Cozy. He's denying this Gnar from being in any fight. No Mega Gnar is absolutely detrimental if you are AM All-Stars. NACLQ maybe just trading out 1-for-1 here anyway. Can find that pick on the Cozy. Cozy's a little bit fast. Is he gonna get away? No, he will not. So it is a 5v4, but there is no Gnar in the area, and a Cataclysm on the AB. The chains are gonna come down, and Enthrall is gonna be able to pick up that pick, but it's traded out 1-for-1. You still have the numbers advantage if you are All-Stars, but your jungler is dead, so you can't go for the objective.
Yeah, I mean, right there, you do manage to take out AB. Unfortunately, wasn't able to take out Enthralled, but you know, trading off kills, just putting more damage onto your AD carry. I mean, Ultio definitely going to be feeling good about that one. More index towards that wombo, more index towards just ripping people to shreds. I mean, we saw that bullet time already doing a ton of work. And right here, I mean, we've got a decent bit of lethality on those Misfortune, but more than that, we've also got 40% crit chance, likely going to be even more as the game goes onwards.
So something I want to talk about here a little bit is you have a 6-1 Gnar on the top side if you're AM All-Stars. How do you push this lead if with the Udyr out of Cozy stopping every single one of your chances to get in for a team fight?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's exactly what I was about to mention right before that fight broke out, right? You know, the Udyr can always cancel out the Gnar teleport. The Gnar can't always do that to Udyr. I mean, you have to be in mega form. You can't, you know, just walk forward and just ult someone at whenever your leisure, you know, at your leisure at any time, right? You know, this Gnar has to be playing these side lanes incredibly efficiently, and you know, losing that teleport really hurts.
We see lots of posturing for this Baron. Flashes are all online for the side of Polestar, so Daemon's gonna have to work some magic here if he wants to get a Cataclysm lockdown. He's gonna have to play it off of the Mega Gnar ultimate or something, and they're looking for a Baron flip, but they already know off of the Ash Hawk shot.
Vision.
So we're gonna see how this fans out. The Mega Gnar is finally here for a team fight. Will they wait it out? But if they wait it out, the Baron will get burned down. So actually, no, it's AM All-Stars. They're choosing to opt off, even though it looked like Polestars was looking to wait out the Mega Gnar.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't blame them. You know, that's the Hunting Baron. It does so much damage. Oh my god, just a few pixels away from canceling that recall. Krya just barely missing out on that W. But, I mean, this dragon slowly gonna be coming up. You know, you're gonna get your early vision, gonna be able to clear out everything around the area. Those Void Scuttles just do so much work.
So talking a little bit about AM All-Stars right now, they've got Rabadons on their mid laner, whereas Orianna is just a few gold short of having that. I feel like they need to push this lead with Nsans, force a fight while he's got the 3-item power spike, and while Gnar still has an advantage over this Udyr who just bought the Unending Despair. We know how good that item is and how much it can do. You have a 3-item power spike on your MF too, so this is the point that you need to start forcing a fight, and it's looking like that's what they want to do on the Baron. They're committing to this one this time. Mega Gnar is mega. He's gonna get stunned out, rooted up. He slams one into the wall, and the red team is gonna be able to pick up the Baron, but trades one out for their Gnar. Xin Zhao going in, trying to pick up even more, and will find Saints, it's looking like all Polestars have turned the fight. They lost the Baron, but they got all the kills they needed.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great Baron pickup, but the Wombo just goes barely wide. I mean, the Gnar ulti made sure that Krya didn't get anywhere into the pit. The Shurima shuffle, unfortunately, didn't quite lead into too much more, though. Just barely caught AB, but Enthralled's positioning was so good, just barely stood out of range from that Shurima shuffle, going to be able to survive for as long as possible. Meanwhile, this Varus is picking up more and more gold. I do believe that Varus is going to be able to pick up the Terminus soon enough, and that's so terrifying to think about, that this Varus is not only going to be able to get more pen, is going to be able to get even tankier, and then once the Terminus is finished, you know, has the option to go for something like a Jack Show, or even picking up the Wit's End, so that way you're taking less magic damage. But the fact that they added tenacity onto Wit's End is absolutely disgusting to think about.
Yeah, and when you're going up against some kind
It is the Jack Show.
Oh, yeah, we do see the cloak coming out. A shockwave! That did so much damage, but the Shurima shuffle might have helped get that pick. It looked like in favor of Polestars, and it's Cozy TPing in, but is forced to use that ghost to run away. The damage in favor of AM All-Stars. They're looking to just run in. Mega Gnar is going to be online here very shortly, and a nice rock throw.
Whoa.
Not able to find AV just yet, but they could burst down this tower. Their jungler is in the area. He has the Baron buff, and that's all you need to run it down the mid lane right now. They found the pick onto the Orianna Ensains. The Shurima shuffle, he's just playing out of his mind today. Maybe looking for another engage. Is the Xin Zhao stun's gonna look to come up out of Cozy? Will they go in? The Cosmic Drive is already popped off of Ensains. They have the Cataclysm and the Bullet Rain. That's the combo you want, but I don't know if they want to force a fight here, as they have Gnar pushing this top side to take down this turret. Can AM All-Stars look for some type of end here? Reppy is going to be up in 6 seconds, and we'll have another Shockwave online. But will Polestars look for a fight when he comes up? No, it's looking like AM is going to back out and retreat for now.
Yeah, I mean, that Shockwave looked so good for a second. I mean, it just caught Alexander right at the edge, just barely, not quite able to 100 to 0 the Soraka, but that singular bit of health, that tiny sliver, you know, that pixel and a dream comes to fruition as Alexander's entire team immediately collapses. And the first time Reppy dies, the immediate inhib tower goes down. That's just how important this mid laner is to the team. Meanwhile, you know, Enthralled still looking to scale up, still looking to get those extra items. I was mentioning the Jack Show earlier, right? I was super excited, and okay, we're getting that fist bump. I love that. But you know, the biggest thing about Terminus, right? So it gives you extra pen. It also gives you, you know, 15 armor and magic resist, right? Which, all things considered, is a decent chunk for a support, for an AD carry, right? You know, it's not the most, but Jack Show on top of that, right, gives you a ton of health, gives you armor and magic resist, and once you're in combat for 5 seconds, it adds 30% extra armor and magic resist onto your champion. So that synergizes so incredibly well with Terminus that a Jack Show Varus starts looking like that Radiant Virtue Titanic Hydra Varus that we were seeing last season.
And as you mentioned, he just finished that online. So 4 items for him, matching 4 items out of the MF so far. But I would argue that the Varus is going to live a little bit longer than the MF in these fights. And the Orianna has picked up a Blighting Jewel, looking to maybe build into that Void Staff. And I feel like, honestly, that Blighting Jewel might be a bit of a difference maker. We don't talk about components being too much, but that Shockwave almost one-tapped Alexander. So I feel like just that one component could be the turning point. That little bit more damage could one-tap Alexander, and you pick off this Orianna first every single fight, you're going to start winning every single fight. Or you pick up the
I mean,
Soraka.
you know, that, yeah. I mean, honestly, both things are true, right? I mean, we saw earlier, right, where Reppy got picked off for the first time in the entire match, and then just so much was lost immediately. You know, that's all your wave clear. That's so much of the damage threat on this team. Meanwhile, you know, that Soraka, so impactful in these fights, has both the flash and the heal right now. I mean, the only flash that's down on the entire Rift is a Bees, and I mean, you know, you could count Cozy, I guess, because, you know, no flash, haha, you don't really have it, but meanwhile, the Void Sky going to be picked up, and just vision all across the entirety of AM
Damon's
All-Stars.
going in. The TP's coming out as well. Stun's going to be landing up under the Norse. Cataclysm's going to find two, but he might get burst down in the process. And the Dream Shuffle's going to help find a B. And it's Cozy going in, fighting a 3v1 right now. Can he be able to find something? Bullet Rain is really going to go extremely wide to pick up nothing. And that's going to be Reppy picking up that one. And Cozy kills that Soraka. Can this Meganar that is finally full build trade it out? No, he will not. And Cozy is looking to run him down in the process. And this is a soul point nearly for free for Polestars.
Yeah, I mean, Enthralled was able to live for so long because of that huge amount of tankiness from that Jack Show pickup here. I mean, it was a beautiful combo from Daemon. It was and Insanes, but unfortunately, you know, while you managed to pick up a B, Enthralled lives for just enough time and just continues to lifesteal up, continues to auto away. I mean, a beautifully played fight, though. I mean, you see flashes burn left and right, you know, just dodging out on very important abilities, very strong things. And in the end, it all goes to Polestar, right? You know, the individual components going to come up huge there, and the Ocean Soul going to be able to match the Soraka in terms of healing is going to be so terrifying.
So we have a full built Gnar on the side of AM All-Stars. Is there a world where if AM All-Stars can get full built that they can trade out a fight here? Or I kind of feel like the Udyr, even being down on items, is just a little bit more impactful in a lot of these fights than NACLQ is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Udyr as a champion is particularly impactful in terms of making
the arrow
something
lands
happen.
on Daemon. They're looking to pick him off versus the Bullet Rain is going to chunk down Kyria. Is going to get shielded up from the Orianna ball, and they're going to win out this fight, but that's crucial. Ultimate's gone out of both sides. No Ash Arrow, no Bullet Rain. Are they looking for some type of re-engage here, or are they going to go for a Baron flip as they know Shockwave? It kills Ultio Reppy, going absolutely crazy. That Void Staff was the difference maker, like we were mentioning before. Hawkshot just to get some vision here, and it's AM All-Stars on the back burner, but you got an Udyr and Ashe chasing you down, so you will not be able to kite away, but they're going to turn and look to potentially flip on this Baron. The Cataclysm is still online, and Enthrall does not have his flash, and neither does Kyria, so if they find a huge one, it could be benefactory here. No ult out of Eric Sander, though, in the meantime, so it's going to come down to what Daemon, Ancliffe, and Ensense can do as a core unit here. They're looking for some type of engage here. Look at Ensense. He's on the flank. He's going in. The Streamer Shuffle's going to get AB, and he gets picked off. A nice double knockup as Ancliffe goes in for the stun as well. They're trying to pick up Daemon. Will they be able to find it? They have not just yet, and they finally end up getting him. Kyria picks up that one, trying to get down. This Soraka will be able to get that one as well, and it's just up to Ancliffe on this Gnar in a 3v1. He will fall, and the Baron should go in favor of Polestars.
And just like that, it was looking so good for this side of AM All-Stars, but Polestars right now going to be able to do everything necessary. Look at this. Oh my god, Cozy just 100-0, straight up face tanking, just does not care. That's 4.5 items on an AD carry versus 3.5 on the top lane Udyr. I mean, you were saying that the Udyr felt more impactful than the Gnar in some of these fights, and I was saying, well, you know what? I think the Gnar, it has the more, like, huge, game-changing, instant thing going on, but, you know, before I was so rudely cut off by these teams making stuff happen, I wasn't able to say the Udyr is just going to be a constant thorn in AM All-Stars side, and right now, I mean, that wound is slowly starting to get infected here, and it looks like it might become lethal. This
Oh
Udyr
no.
is something you cannot deal with. I mean, Daemon just going to be able to flag drag out of there. It was a little bit scary for a little bit, but oh, no, speaking of
that's scary. Oh, the Ash Arrow hits as well. The chain CC is astronomical. Double knockup. They're going to get that pick over to Enthralled. And this is looking really good because now they can just shove it down this bot side.
Yeah, I mean, Enthralled now full build on the Varus. How do you kill a Varus with Jack Show Terminus and Ocean Soul? Like, it's actually
and GA.
impossible. And a GA.
So you kill him and he just comes
twice.
back. So you get to kill him twice. And Cozy is just gonna walk through that turret shot there. This is looking like all Polestars right here. And now Daemon has to land the Cataclysm of a lifetime to get the bullet rain out of Ultio and burst them down. The Shurima Shuffle's gonna knock up 2. This could be the fight for AM All-Stars. Can they find this Xinjiang? They will find that, but it's looking like Enthralled is able to trade that 1-for-1 onto the enemy jungler. One more inhibitor turret, it will end up falling. So now they can just hit the Nexus. Will it die in time? He's trying his best, and it will. The game goes to the game does end up going to Polestars.
And just like that, it was looking so good for the side of AM All-Stars. I mean, your Gnar gets the early kills. You know, your bot lane starts popping off with Alexander just pumping out so many heals on the Soraka. I mean, Daemon and Ensains had so many good combos with that Azir and Jarvan, but in the end, it falls to the clean play from the side of Polestar. I mean, Enthralled's Varus, an absolute monster. Look at that damage output. Just pumped out so much. 12, 3, and 8. I mean, it was almost impossible to kill this man. Meanwhile, Reppy just pumped out so much burst damage. We saw multiple times where multiple members would almost drop down to 0 health, but I mean, it was not too much in terms of the raw number of damage output because it was always on those prime squishy targets without much health to burn through to begin with.
Yeah, and if I had to say, I'm gonna give multiple props to Cozy on this Udyr. Everybody on his team did absolutely insane, but he held strong. He was down 6-1, against a 6-1 Gnar in the early game. He lost his turret early game, but he held strong and played the team fights perfectly almost. And like you saw, he was running down people 1v like 100 to 0, the MF lethality. Like he was
a 25% health Udyr.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
I have to give it to Cozy here because he held strong and he played to his game, he played to his tank strengths, and that mattered in the team fights. I mean, you think that the Gnar was better than the Udyr? I mean, it could have just been a player diff. Maybe Cozy was more impactful than NACLQ. So I have to give it to Udyr though, that out of Cozy that game. I liked his headstrongness.
Absolutely. I mean, Enthrall was able to pump out so much damage because of how much work Cozy did on that front line. But either way, that wraps up game number 1. And if this is what we're going to be seeing, these are some banger matches.